Do you want to send your enemies to the Shadow Realm faster than Yugi can summon Exodia the Forbidden One?
Exodia! Obliterate!
Well then, welcome to today's Diablo 4 5 builds video, and we are going to be covering the Rogue. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Rusty Pilover, ginger streamer, professional high-pitched screamer, entertainer extraordinaire. And today we are going to be covering the Rogue class for Diablo 4. Now before we get into it, I'm just going to cover up a little bit of the basics of the Rogue, who the Rogue is, what they do. Something we didn't do for the Barbarian in the previous video, but I'm going to do that right now for the Rogue. So apologies to the Barbarian, but today we're going to be talking about the Rogue. The Rogue sports a big mashup of a particular class type, and the Rogue in Diablo 4 seems to be a mashup of the original Rogue in Diablo 1, the Amazon, the Assassin, and the Demon Hunter, respectively, from Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. So we are getting quite a built-in character that is a mix-and-mash style of many of their previous iterations, and it really opens up for the types of build that you possibly might want to go into. That being said, we are only going to be covering 5 possible builds for the Rogue, because this one particularly has got more than I bargained for or could prepare for, and she works a little bit differently than the Barbarian in terms of what you can do for your builds. There will be a couple of things for the Rogue that you can possibly do. You can either go a melee build or a range build for your Rogue, and apparently you can swap between the two, so there's no limitation between these categories that you can have, and each of your skills will work differently for your weapons as well. So if you're going a range Rogue build, you'll have skills that work with bows. If you're going for a melee Rogue build, then you have different skills that work for daggers or for swords. What the Rogue sports is talent specializations and the imbue system. So to go over it, the talent specialization has 3 different specialization categories, namely combo points, exploit weakness, and shadow realm, and each one is tied to a world rogue group and requires accomplishing a rogue specific quest to unlock. So as you are playing your Rogue, you get to decide which path you want to take based on the quests you want to do. Now whether this is limited to 1 playthrough per Rogue, or if you can keep it throughout your 1 playthrough and then decide which one of the 3 specializations you want to go through, that'll be awesome. Now that you know a little bit more about the Rogue, if you want to learn more about these specializations and imbue system, there is a link down below, so you can go and click on that. There's also one in the pinned comments, so you can't miss it out, and if you do, please DM me and I'll get that sorted for you. Now on to the 5 builds that we could possibly see coming for the Rogue. Number 1, the Shadow Realmer. As I said right in the beginning, if you want to send people to the Shadow Realm faster than Yugi can summon Exodia the Forbidden One, this is going to be the playthrough for you. Now from what I see in some of the gameplay is that the Shadow Realm is a way to bring one particular enemy out of a battlefield into your realm, slice and dice them up, destroy them, and then pop back into the normal realm. Now this might be a great way to isolate certain boss fights. If things are difficult, isolate certain enemies that might give you a little bit more grief than most things, and this could possibly just make your playthrough just a little bit easier. This is going to be the type of go in, pick off an enemy, go out type style, truly an assassin type Rogue. So if you want to destroy people, send their souls to the Shadow Realm, and then laugh like a crazy individual with a Millennium item, then you can do that. Number 2, martial arts. This is akin to the Assassin from Diablo 2, especially coming together with the combo points and exploit weakness. I can firmly 100% see there might be a martial arts build for the Rogue, much akin to the Assassin from Diablo 2, where you could possibly get claw weapons, or you can use your fists, or if you have daggers or kunai, whatever the case may be. We don't know about the items just yet in the game, the different types of swords, but I will almost 100% guarantee there might be a martial arts build out there for the Rogue. So if you fancy yourself getting in there, doing the old 1, 2, 3 dodge out, because there is a dodge system in the game, then this is the Rogue build for you. Number 3, attrition exploiter. This kind of ties in with the imbue system and the exploit weakness. Now you could tie this into your martial arts build, but you also don't want to spread yourself too thin and not capitalize on some of the key points in Diablo 4. So with the exploiter, you might be able to do quite a bit of attrition damage, namely cold, poison, or shadow damage, to multiple enemies at once and kind of blow them up with all these status effects. Now, whether or not those status effects bleed out to other enemies in an AoE, we don't know yet. That could be a possible skill in the talent tree, which might just make that build quite the AoE destroyer, much like you would do your corpse explosion from your necromancer. This AoE attrition damage does allow you to deal with multiple enemies at once with varying different types of status effects. And with that, once you have all the status effects, you can possibly deal with multiple enemies that might either be cold immune, might either be poison immune, or shadow immune. You have something else to go for you. Number 4, the Trap Artist. Now, again, harking back to Diablo 2 days, the Trap Assassin was a thing where you would drop your fire traps and it would basically deal with a whole lot of enemies. Now, the Rogue does not sport any fire skills, but it wouldn't surprise me if we do have a type of Trap Artist, seeing as it is a mix of the Demon Hunter and the Assassin, who both use traps in their respective games. I would not be surprised to see any of you do a Trap Artist. We would drop down some traps, either they do cold, poison, shadow damage, or maybe a different type of damage. Definitely I could see a Trap Artist being one of the better builds in the game, purely because you can deal with multiple enemies real quickly, and this again ties in maybe to your Exploit Artist if you want to go there, or maybe you want to do something else with your traps. We'll have to wait and see. Number 5, the Cold Rogue. This is putting all your eggs in one basket, but much like with the Amazon, where you had the Javazon, which was more your lightning builds, or you could go your poison or fire arrow Amazon build, I firmly believe that the Cold Rogue could be a thing where we go purely into a cold tree and do a whole bunch of cold damage. Now this could either be melee or bow. I'm leaning more towards bow if they are going to keep true to the Amazon part of the Rogue, and maybe also the Rogue part in Diablo 1. Now the Cold Rogue is going to be one of the stronger builds in the game, because simply cold damage is one of the toughest and strongest builds in all of Diablo. You look at the Sorceress, you look at possibly the Amazon as well. Cold Rogue could very much be a build that you could go for. Possibly range, and if you do have cold immune enemies, you can always respec into maybe some shadow damage or things like that, but I firmly believe that the Cold Rogue might be more of a range playstyle rather than a melee playstyle, but who knows? The Rogue does seem to be one of those adaptable classes that allows you to go through melee and ranged in the fight. But the main thing for the Rogue is to get in, do damage, get out, because I do see a few glass cannon builds, especially if you look at your martial artist. You're not really going to try and tank up a lot of shots. You're going to try and get in your combo hits and your exploit weakness, dodge out, reset your things, hit, maybe go into the shadow realm, destroy them, pull out, heal up, and get in there. So I do not believe you will be tanking as a rogue, but stranger things have happened, and that's why I'm excited about this. Remember, these are only 5 possible builds out of all the rogue builds that there are, and once Diablo 4 releases, we will deep dive into the imbue system, the talent specializations, the possible builds that we could go for. Once again, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you did enjoy that. Please let me know in the comments below what builds you are looking forward to, which class are you looking forward to, what do you think you are going to be building for your rogue if you're going to be playing rogue. If you didn't check out my previous video, right over there's the barbarian. Go let me know which barbarian build you are going to go for. And with that being said, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider leaving a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, Sanctuary awaits.